Excellencies, former presidents who are here leading international election observation missions and other heads of international observation missions, Excellencies, ambassadors and high commissioners present, fellow observers of the East African Community Election Observation Mission, invited guests, members of the press, ladies and gentlemen. Upon the invitation of the Kenyan Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, the Secretary General of the East African Community, Honorable Peter Mathuki, constituted the East African Community Election Observation Mission to the 2022 Kenya General Election. Let me hasten to say that the election observation is one of the fundamental principles of promoting good governance and democracy in the East African Community as per treaty and as per the principles of election observation and evaluation of 2012. The East African Commission Observation Mission comprised 43 East Africans. I'm leading that mission, and Ambassador Fatma Nangiza, who is the chairperson of the Regional Affairs and Conflict Resolution Committee of the East African Legislative Assembly, is my deputy. The members of the mission were drawn from the East African Legislative Assembly, national parliaments, government ministries, electoral management bodies, national youth councils, national human rights institutions, civil society organizations, and East African youth ambassadors. In constituting the mission, the Secretary General was guided by the principle that no national of the country holding the election will be a member of that observation mission. It follows, therefore, that our brothers and sisters of Kenya are not members of this mission. Ladies and gentlemen, the deployment of this mission was preceded by an AU, EAC, and COMESA joint high-level pre-election consultative mission from the 14th to the 21st of May. Later, from 25th of June to 25th of July, a joint political assessment mission with members of the AU, EAC, COMESA, and IGAD conducted an assessment of conflict prevention and mitigation of the risk factors to be taken into account during this year's election in Kenya. Members of the East African Election Observation Mission were deployed in 16 teams in 27 counties in Nairobi, Central, Nyanza, Eastern, Western, Rift Valley, and Coastal region. On polling day, we were able to observe elections in 218 polling stations. Before deployment, the mission undertook consultations with the stakeholders, including the chairman of the EIB, Independent Electoral and Border Commission, Wafula Chebukati and his commissioners, the Chief Justice, Her Lordship Justice Martha Koome, the Cabinet Secretary for Interior, Dr. Fred Matiang'i, And with regard to presidential candidates, we met in person with His Excellency William Ruto, the Deputy President, Right Honorable Raila Odinga, former Prime Minister, and Reverend David Waihiga. I spoke by phone with Professor George Wajakoya. He was in his village. He went there early to vote, but we agreed to meet when he returns to Nairobi. The other stakeholders we interacted with include the National Police Service of Kenya, ambassadors of the East African Community in Kenya, commissioners of the National Human Rights Commission, commissioners of the National Cohesion and Integration Commission, political parties, the Election Observation Group, ILOG, civil society organizations, faith-based organizations, and the media. We also had consultations with other regional and international observers. Many of them are already here. I attended a special event organized by the Kenya's Ministry of Foreign Affairs by Secretary Rachel Omamo, organized by 4 observers. The Secretary of ICT, Honorable Joseph Mucheru, the Inspector General of Police, Hilary Nzioki, permanent secretaries from several ministries were present. They spoke about Kenya government's preparedness and readiness to ensure successful, free, and fair election in 2022. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to present the preliminary report of the East African Community Observer Mission. The report is based on the consultations which I have already mentioned and the findings of our observers in the field, in the counties. We observed key pre-election and election day activities, campaigns, delivery of polling materials, preparation of polling stations, voting processes and results management at polling stations. The comprehensive report, the detailed and comprehensive report, will be completed shortly and will be delivered to the Independent Electoral and Border Commission of Kenya and to relevant Kenyan authorities. The following are some of the observations the EAC Election Observation Mission would like to highlight. 1, the mission observed that the campaigns were conducted in a calm and peaceful atmosphere. Parties and candidates had the opportunity to campaign freely, although there were reports of some challenges or incidents encountered by some parties and some members. In our assessment, these were isolated incidents. They do not translate or reflect the whole election processes. And those issues that were incidents related to security were dealt with by the national security agencies. 2, the mission takes note of the important contribution made by several stakeholders like faith-based organizations, civil society organizations, the private sector, and the media, which helped in promoting peace and harmony during the campaigns as well as before and on polling day. The mission noted that at various stages of the electoral process, there were problems associated with social media, particularly regarding to disinformation, misinformation, and hate speech. The mission commends various stakeholders for their efforts to address these challenges. In this regard, the mission commends the mainstream media for the important contribution they have made in addressing some of these challenges. We also commend the wonderful work they have done on voter education and coverage of the electoral process. We hope they will continue to do so after the election results are declared. The mission takes note of the remarkable improvements made by the Independent Electoral and Border Commission with regards to transparency, preparations, and management of the 2022 elections. However, much more needs to be done for better outcomes in the future. A lot of our ideas will be contained in the detailed report. The mission also recommends that in future there should be better communication between the IEBC and the various stakeholders. 5, on polling day, the mission observed the following. This is what we want to share. There are many things, but we would like to share the following. Generally, the situation was calm, peaceful, and orderly. Most polling stations opened on time, but there were a few which opened late for various reasons, including late setting up of the stations, late arrival of polling materials, or even late arrival of the polling officials. However, we were pleased to note that the time lost was compensated by the late closure of polls in the concerned polling stations. It is recommended by our mission that the IEBC should take corrective measures to ensure that these deficiencies do not recur in future. For example, we took time with my deputy to go around the polling stations up to 6 o'clock. There was nobody. I think in one of the stations we found 2 young ladies there pulling benches. So if the preparations are taken well ahead, then we'll be able to organize better. B, in the observed polling stations, security personnel were present as promised, and they were professional in their discharge of duties and responsibilities. They did not interfere with the electoral process, nor did they intimidate voters. The mission commends Kenya Police Service for a job very well done. Our humble appeal to them, please continue to do the good work everywhere, anywhere, and for every task you are assigned to do after the elections. The other observation on polling day is that polling officials displayed high levels of competence and professionalism. There may be some slippages here and there, but generally, they displayed high levels of competence and professionalism. The mission recommends that the IEBC, commends the IEBC for the selection and training of poll officials. We also commend the IEBC for involving young people, and for that young women, in the management of the electoral processes. My deputy was very keen on seeing if the women are involved. And she was very happy to see many young ladies involved in the process. There was a time I asked her, but you are a mother, you also have girl child and boy child, but why are you not keen on seeing boys there? But it is a reality that you have to, and gender mainstreaming, you have to care about the place of women because they are disadvantaged. The mission commends the IEBC on the successful use of technology in voter registration, voter identification, and transmission of results. It has improved efficiency and increased transparency of the election process in Kenya. At least those who have been here in the last election are testifying to that. However, there were instances of challenges in the identification of voters using the KIMS kit. We recommend that the problems relating to KIMS kit should be identified and the necessary corrective measures be taken for better performance in future elections. The mission was pleased to observe that agents of political parties and candidates were present at polling stations and were not encumbered in performing their duties. However, it was a bit concerning that it was only the two major political parties, political alliances, that were able to deploy agents. Also, it was intriguing to note the presence of many agents of independent candidates. You know, I think there was one polling station, I think the representatives of the mainstream parties were only two. 6 of them were, which party? Independent. Which one? Independent. Which one? Independent. So I says, it appears there are many independent candidates. It's good for democracy. But there is a story behind it. And we are going to take up that matter in the main report of observation. It appears something happened in the primaries in the political parties. And those who were dissatisfied just decided to become independent candidates. In all polling stations observed, agents of political parties and independent candidates signed the results form, declaration form, and they were given copies. Overall, the mission was pleased to note that generally protocols and procedures for opening and closure of polling were observed. With regards to the layout of polling stations, it is the opinion of staff and community observers that party agents were placed too far from the polling official who is identifying the voters. For purposes of enhancing checks and balances in future elections, the IEB should consider placing party agents close to that official to ascertain the authenticity of voters. Because if these party agents, in fact, in the arrangement, the party agents would be where the observers are supposed to be. The only thing they would see is how these people drop the ballots in the boxes. But I think the most critical part for them is at the point where voters are coming in, to ascertain that is this a bona fide voter or not. So if everything is safe, fine. But this is something that we thought was noticeable for us. The mission noted with concern complaints made by young people that the political parties did not provide them adequate space and opportunity for them to participate as candidates in the elections. We met some young people here. They were so vocal, complaining. They are making demands on us. Sometimes they tell us, "You are too young, please, just wait." Even getting the opportunity to try. So it's a hard sell. We consider this a serious matter. Either it's a matter of omission or commission, which needs attention and resolute action. Young people are the future of this country. In the same vein, we call upon the political actors and the government of Kenya to ensure that the 2/3 gender rule is observed to the letter and spirit. Ladies and gentlemen, over and above all that I've mentioned, the Staff and Community Election Observation Mission would like to appeal to all political actors and stakeholders in Kenya, including the great people of Kenya, to continue to maintain peace after the results of the elections are declared. We implore all of you to embrace peaceful resolution of disputes that may arise from the electoral processes. Fortunately, there is the opportunity to use the courts of law, so please make use of that avenue. Finally, ladies and gentlemen, the East African Community Election Observation Mission is satisfied that the way the 2022 general election, Kenyan general election, was conducted on polling day, the people of Kenya were given the opportunity to elect leaders of their choice freely. We hope the subsequent processes will respect, uphold, and reflect the will of the people of Kenya in the 2022 general elections. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Another round of applause. That wasn't enough.